යුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහෙරති ජේතවනේ අනාථපිණ්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්ත වන්නා කේවල කම්පං ජේතවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං පිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානං ච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං අතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බේච කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතාච යාවාචා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං මාතා පිතු උපට්ඨානං පුන්තදාරංස සංඝෝ අනාකුලාච කම්මන්තා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං දානංච ධම්මචරියාච ඥාතකානංච සංඝෝ අනවංජානි කම්මානි ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං ආරති විරති පාපා මංජපානාච සංයමෝ අප්පමාදෝච ධම්මේසු ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං ගාරවෝච නිවාතෝච සන්තුන්තිච කතං යුතා කාලේන ධම්ම සවනං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං කන්තිච සෝව චන්සතා සමනානංච දන්සනං කාලේන ධම්ම සාකච්ඡා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං තපෝච බ්‍රහ්මචරියංච අරිය සංචාන දන්සනං නිබ්බාන සංචිකිරියාච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පුන්තංස ලෝක ධම්මී චින්තං යන්සන කම්පති අසෝකං විරජං කේමං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං ඒතාදිසානි කන්වාන සම්බන්තමපරාජිතා සම්බන්ත සොන්තිං ගච්ඡන්තිතං තේසං මංගල මුන්තමං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වංජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං. කරණීය මන්ත කුසලේන යන්තං සන්තං පදං අபிසමිච්ඡ සක්ඛෝජෝච සෝජෝච සුවචෝචං සමුදෝ අනතිමානි සන්තුංසකෝච සුභරෝච අම්පකින්චෝච සල්ලහුකවුන්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අම්පගම්බෝ කුලේසු අනුනුගින්දෝ නච කුන්දං සමාචරේ කිංචි යේන විඤ්ඤූ පරේ උපවදෙය්‍යං සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හන්තු සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා ඒකේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසවාතාවරාවා අනවසේසා දීඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මංජිමාරංසකානුකතුලා දිත්ථාවායේව අන්දින්තා යේච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත ඥාති මඤ්ඤේත කන්ත චිනං කංචි ව්‍යාරෝසනා පටික සංඥා ඥාඤ්ඤ මඤ්ඤංස දුක්ඛ මිච්ඡේය මාතා යතානියං පුන්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුන්ත මනුරංකේ ඒවම්පි සම්බභූතේසු මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ මෙත්තංච සම්බලෝකස්මින් මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ උන්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසංභාදං අවේරං අසපන්තං තින්ඨංචරං නිසින්නෝවා සයානෝවායාවතන්ස විගතමින්දෝ ඊතං සතින් අදින්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහෝ දින්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දන්සනේන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනය්‍යගේදං නහි ජාතු ගම්බසේයං පුනරේති. එවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහරති ජේතවනේ අනාථපිණ්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අබින්කන්තාය රන්තියා අබින්කන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං ජේතවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං තිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං බ්‍රෝහි මංගලමුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං පතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බේච කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතාච යාවාචා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං මාතා පිතු උපට්ඨානං පුන්තදාරංස සංඝෝ අනාකුලාච කම්මන්තා ඒතං මංගලමුන්තමං
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. A very good morning to all of you who had joined us early in the morning. I can see many of you have logged in. Wow, very early. Thank you very much. Congratulate yourself. Please feel happy that all of us are together in this Sunday Buddha Puja service. Wow, it is a bright day this morning, bright sunshine. You may consider to connect to an external speaker or to your smart TV and share with your family members in the living hall. During this online Buddha Puja service, let us have a calm mind. Please join us in the Buddha chanting and the Dhamma talk till the dedication of marriage. Nama Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to Subang Jaya Buddhist Association 83rd online Sundays Buddha Puja service. We have been organizing this weekly online Puja service so that we can have opportunity and continue with a chance to listen to the chanting and doing the Buddha Puja, listening to the Dhamma sharing, and finally dedication of marriage. I'd like to thank those who have put their comments and give us a like or a love sign. Please continue to do that. Thank you very much. This morning, brothers and sisters, in the Dhamma, let us begin our Sunday Buddha Pujas by making offerings to the Buddha. If you have prepared the offerings at home, you may light your candles or oil lamp or make other offerings to the Buddha. For the other devotees, please fold your palms together in Anjali position and contemplate mindfully. We shall now invite Brother Chim to proceed with the offerings to the Buddha. Brother Chim. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let's pay homage to the Jubal Gem. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us together take the three refuges and observe the five precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Pancasila. Anatipatha Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Surameraya Majjapama Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Imani Pancha Sikkapadani Samadhiyami. Imani Pancha Sikkapadani Samadhiyami. Imani Pancha Sikkapadani Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddhanussati. Iti piso bhagava arhang samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati Satta deva manussanang buddho bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sandidiko Akaliko Ehipassiko Opanadiko Pacatang Vetitabbu Vinyuhiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samicipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidang Chattari Purisyukani Atta Purisa Bukkala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjalikaraniyo Anuttarang Punya Ketang Lokasati Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbatane supatititang saririka dhatu mahaboding Buddha rupang sakalang sadang Yassa mule nisannova sabbari vijayang akka patto sabbang nyutang satha vande tang bodhipadapang ime ete mahabodhing lokanatena pujita Aham pite namassami Bodhi Raja namatute. Offering of lights. Ganasarapatitena Dipena Thamadansina Diloka Dipang Sambodang Pujayami Thamonudang. Ganda Sambara Yuttena Dupena Hang Sugandinang Pujaye Pujaniyang Tang Puja Pajana Muttamang Vanna Ganda Gunopetang Etang Kusuma Santating Pujayami Munindasa Siripada Saroruhe Pujemi Buddhang Kusumena Nena Unena Metena Chahotu Mokang Upang Milayati Yatta Idang Me Kayo Tatayati Vinasa Bhavang Adivase tu no bante paniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya padigang hadumuttamang kayena vacha chittena pamadena mayagatang Akchayang kamame bante buri panna tathagata Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya gatang Akchayang kamame dhamma sandidika akalika Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya gatang Akchayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, later on, if any questions regarding the sharing, please type your questions in the comment box. Well, this morning, the speaker is Dd Khoo Nee Wern. Well, we started this learning very early from Sunday Dhamma School at SJBA. Well, the seeds was planted years and years ago. Well, that's why I always encourage many of you to send your children to the Sunday Dhamma School. Well, the speaker is a fine example, of the growth, selfless volunteer in several aspects of the propagation in the Buddhism. Besides being in the iGEMS producing Buddhist song, Dd Khoo Nee Wern is the head of the program for advancement in Dhamma leadership. In short, we call it PADA, under the Center for Research and Dhamma Leadership Advancement, which we call it the CRADA, which is an initiative of the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. Our speaker has spoken in this Sunday online many of the talks, developing wholesome qualities, giving up the unskillful, cultivating the skillful. Gratitude is gratifying, cultivating the learning habit, and many more. Do less, achieve more. And today, wow, managing life's stakeholders. What is it? Let us welcome Dd Khoo Nee Wern. into this morning's Dhamma sharing. Hello, good morning. Welcome, Dd Khoo Nee Wern, to this morning's Dhamma sharing online. How are you? Namo Buddhaya.
Good morning, Dd Chuan. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you once again for the invitation.
Well, you know, I recall several of your titles, which I felt that is rather unique, and well, it creates a lot of curiosity, and we can understand the title. Well, I like the titles of your talk. May I ask, what are the inspirations when you prepare the titles of your Dharma sharing? The titles itself attract us, and we're expecting they are going to share with us something which definitely we easily understand, related to us, related to our daily lives. Is that correct, Didi Dewan?
Well, I think this morning when I look at the title, one of the things that drove me to select this for this sharing is well, as I reflected, actually our life, we what we want out of life is actually well-being, happiness, and peace of mind. uh, and we wished for those things. We want to for those things. We work for those things. But along the way, is we live in society. We live in a family. We do have people around us, and we can't escape from having to handle what we call our key stakeholders in life. And sometimes the way we handle them, if we handle them rightly, we can benefit, and they can benefit from us. If we don't handle them rightly, somehow or other, some of these people can get us into trouble, or maybe even hinder us from our progress in life. So managing key stakeholders is very important, not just in the corporate life. I mean, we talk about managing key stakeholders in work, but we also need to also look at what are the key stakeholders that we have in our life. So perhaps this could be something that for us to reflect. And most of us here who are watching, you're all, some of you are working people, most of you are family people. You do have, you know, people around you. How do we do that? How do we create a harmonious environment? Yeah. So in a nutshell.
Yeah. In fact, we only hear the word stakeholders in business, in our workplace. Well, today you have put in this word in the Dharma talk, the title of your Dharma talk. Wow, I'm looking forward to your talk, your sharing. I'm sure everyone out there is waiting to hear from you. I shall now hand over to you, Didi Niwan, over to
Okay.
you to begin the talk.
Thank you, Dd Chuan. Thank you very much once again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here this morning. I am always grateful for the Subanjaya Buddhist Association, especially Didi Chuan and the team here, Didi Yek, Didi Alfred, and as well as Didi Chim, and of course we have Sister Anne, who is also helping. But I'm touched by the fact that the very people that made this talk happen has dedicated a lot of hours and a lot of their time, and also week after week to get this organized. And it's not easy. It's not easy to maintain a certain level of what we call consistency among and the interest to keeping it alive. And I see some of people, you could be quite regular, devotees who tune in to the talk. So thank you very much. I want to wish everybody, again, gratitude. And at the same time, I want to wish everybody well. I know today we are faced with a lot of uncertainties, more in terms of health now. I think not so much because we're going to lockdown or things like that, but because we have health issues. People are getting sick, and the COVID is in the air, and we get situations where people who never thought they would have been infected, but they're infected, and things like that. And I see that is happening around us. So I like to, before I begin, I like to offer a prayer, a well wish and a blessing, so that everybody who is in contact with the Dhamma, who is in contact with today, will be benefiting not just mentally, but also overall well-being as well, where you have all the protection around you, that you will be able to weather through some of these challenges. health wise, as well as many other things as well. So it's a very challenging period for many people, but nevertheless, I think we are managing, most of us, and we hope that with the Dhamma as our guide, with the Dhamma as our basis, we can perhaps sail through and go through it with ease. Yeah. So thanks once again, and may you continue this learning opportunity and this journey. So for those of you who are tuned in and watching, I invite you to be part of this engagement, to be part of the reflection, to be part of the the learning, not only for yourself, I think also for the people around you. And that's why the title for managing stakeholders I've chosen more for this reason. Because I think we can't escape from the fact that we need to deal with various people in our life. And if you reflect very deeply, there are very important key stakeholders that need our attention, that need us to pay a little bit more closer attention to them, and perhaps focus on one or two things we can do to enhance those relationships with those people. So I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. So before I begin, as usual, I'd like to call upon my teacher, the Buddha, to be to be with us as we do this Dhamma sharing. Yeah. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so let me just go through this. Right, managing life's key stakeholders. How can we generate causes of well-being for ourselves and others? And I'll go into the stakeholders one later as we progress along the talk this morning. But I'd like to start off by asking you this very maybe simple question. What is the meaning of well-being? I want to start off by well-being. We all want well-being. We all want happiness. We all want, some kind of very, smooth things in our life. And what does that mean when we say well-being? And perhaps you can have your own version if you want to type in to the comment there. What is your definition of well-being? You might have your own definition, and you might want to say, well-being is this, well-being is this, and so on. So if you want to, you can comment. If not, you have some thoughts. What is well-being? Okay, so the meaning of well-being, according to the dictionary, is the state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy. It's a very simple definition, and I think we don't need to split hairs over what's the meaning of well-being. It means we are at ease, things are in order, we have everything we want, everything we need, and more importantly is we are happy. We are happy because we have those things in order, our life is in alignment, and in general, that's the meaning of well-being. So how do we define well-being in a sense that we can reflect on, we can look at? So let me take a look. I will coin this term. I have an ABC of well-being I would like to present to you here. We have well A, well B, and well C. Okay, so ABCs of what it means by generating well-being. When we say what we have well-being, what do you mean? So I like to take you through. There are three areas, A, B, and C, that constitutes our well-being as a human being, as a person. Okay, so all right, a person who says I have well-being is somebody who is well-adjusted. That's the first one. A, well-adjusted. So you are well-adjusted. What does well-adjusted mean? I'll talk about it shortly. What is B then? Well-being is also, apart from being well-adjusted, is being well-balanced. Yeah, you're well-balanced. Your life is in balance. You don't feel imbalanced. When our body is in an imbalanced state, you feel very we say in Hokkien, we say "be song," very, very uncomfortable and things like that. So obviously, when your body is not balanced, you get sick easily. We feel more, susceptible to illness, and generally very uncomfortable. Your energy is lesser and things like that. So it's about well balanced. And the C here, well C, is about well connected. So there are three things that we say when you say we have well-being. There are three areas. Are you well adjusted? Are you well balanced? And are you well connected? All right. And these three things constitute our well-being. What does it mean here? Let me just take you through. Well adjusted means, we are well adjusted to life. It means that life happens and we are adjusting to it. Whatever things happen to us, we are all right. It's not like, when something happened, then we get very upset. That's not adjustment. We get very frustrated easily. I know some people in life, they are not very well adjusted. Somehow they say on one hand, I want happiness, but then they do the kind of things that does not lead them to happiness. So there's a disconnect. I want more work-life balance, but you look at their life, they don't do the things that lead them there. Another simple example, they say health to me is very important. Okay, they put it as top priority. I say my health is very important. Then of course, sometimes I do a reality check on people. I said, how many hours do you spend exercising? When I have the time. How many hours of sleep you get? Oh, how can I sleep? I don't get enough sleep. So, but health is so important, and yet they don't spend the time to do the things that will lead them to healthy life. So that's not well adjusted. Yeah, you need to be adjusted. Wholesome actions, speech, and thought. Some people, they say they want to do the right things. I want to spend more time with my family. But then if you look at their time they spend, actually they don't spend. They got an additional time, any free time also, they don't spend time with the family. So that's not being well adjusted. So being well adjusted simply means you are aligned. Yeah, whatever I say, whatever I do, I do, they're all aligned. There are people who say one thing and do the other thing. They're not aligned. That's not adjustment. So in other words, you're in harmony with yourself and you're in harmony with your environment. And that's the meaning of well-adjusted. So if you ask yourself, if we talk about well-being, are we well-adjusted? And sometimes this is a very important question to ask. What guides our thoughts? What guides our speech? What guides our actions? And if we do not know those things, it's very hard to be adjusted. It's very hard to have well-being. So when we say well-being, don't just look at one aspect. Ask ourselves this question, are we well-adjusted? So that's the first one. Second one, well-balanced. Well-balanced means somebody who is well-balanced is at ease with oneself. Why? Because you avoid indulging in two extremes. On one hand, the extreme of sensual pleasure. On the other hand, the extreme of self-punishment. You torture yourself. So I'm not saying sensual pleasures are wrong, but indulging in them, thinking that they are the one that can bring us happiness, and we keep on going for those things and keep on wanting those things and keep on going for more of those things, then it becomes a source of suffering. You're not balanced. And I know some people in life, they're not balanced. Okay, they want to have a balanced life, but they're not balanced. They overindulge in eating, in sometimes entertainments. It's okay to do it once in a while. It's okay to be, to want to entertain yourself and do those things. But when you're over extreme, that's become an issue. Or we can tend to self-punish, torture ourselves. Many a time we have this guilt trip. Oh, I didn't manage to do that, so I'm a bad person. I don't think it's good enough. Then you start to blame the situation. What to do? My karma law, and then after that, and then you beat yourself up. Next time I don't want to do anymore and things like that. So that's not balance. Balance is taking a more balanced approach. Neither avoid, you avoid these two extremes and go for something a little bit more relaxed. Yeah. And having a balanced view of the world It's a very well balanced individual. And you know what? We like to talk to balanced people because balanced people are generally more easy to be adjusted to us. So when you're balanced as a person, you don't take extremes. You're more at ease, and generally you tend to be more likable. Yeah, in that sense. So well balanced is very very useful to be. The third one, which I want to emphasize in this Dhamma talk, is well connected. The C. And well connected means you engage positively with others. You manage your key stakeholders in life very well. All right. That means you know who they are. And you also know how to say, okay, these are important people who I need to take care of and manage. And I make sure that, all these things are taken care of. And therefore, they are able to build healthy relationship with others. Have you ever seen people that actually sometimes you look at them? Yes, they have people around them. They have their parents, they have their siblings, they have their relatives, they also have their bosses and subordinates and also peers and colleagues. And somehow or other, some of these people walk around in life, they create enemies. Okay. Push people's buttons, trigger others. Okay. I mean, I've known some people who complain that they are not very happy. And I say, why are you not very happy? Well, yeah, job. I'd say, is it because of the job? No, job is okay. I'm happy with the things I do, but I have a very lousy boss. Yeah, I say, why is your boss so lousy? Oh, well, my boss is like this, my boss is like that, and you start to complain everything about the boss. And I asked him, this is a very important question, if that is so difficult, why you want to continue working there? And he says, well, I have not much of a choice. Well, okay, if you say that, then what other choice do you have? Well, I still want my job, I want to work there and things like that. Then he says, okay, then the source of your stress is only one. It's your boss. So it looks like you don't have much issue with your work. Your stress, your work is not that bad. You're all right. It's just that you have one key stakeholder that you didn't manage well. And sometimes that itself can lead to a lot of issues because he's a key stakeholder in your life and you didn't manage that key stakeholder. So there are some people who will continuously, and you know what, these people who don't manage their boss well, just an example, they and you know what, I have known a friend of mine who continuously, I mean, in the past, he continuously had this issue with bosses. Every time he joins a new company, he will either clash with the boss because he has his own opinion. So this person that I know, he has very strong opinions about issues, about how things are to be run, and has very fixed minded on things. And when he goes into an organization, you can't do what you like all the time. But he has very strong opinions, and within 3 months, he will already clash with his boss. And there was a period of time where in 1 year, he changed his job 3 times, all for the same reasons. And he's like a refugee, corporate refugee, moving from one to another, and he's not handling that well. So and the only reason is not because of anything. I mean, he's only 3 months or 4 months in the job, and he already clashed, and we can see a repeated pattern. 3 jobs, same reason he left. And of course, he blames the situation. What to do? My boss is a lousy boss. I should, so he wasted 1 year or more of his life because of that. So that's just an example. But I think key stakeholders in life go beyond that. There are other people in our life as well. So I'm just giving you one simple example. So well connected is one of the key things. So I want to emphasize here, based on what the Buddha tells us about well-being and happiness. Interestingly, from the very often what they call cited sutta, the Sigalovada Sutta, popular sutta because we know about the sutta. But you know what? I feel this sutta is understudied. I mean, we don't study enough of it, and also underutilized. A lot of people want to learn the Dhamma. They learn all kind of things, but sometimes when you go back to basic, this is one sutta that has so many treasures within it, especially for people like us who are working people, business people, lay people, family man, family women, you are living this kind of life, not being a monk, not being a nun, not being a monastic, but living a life that is what they will call as householder, kahapati. So that is what it means by. So this is a very interesting sutta. It has a lot of treasures there. I want to zoom in on what the Buddha talk about in terms of managing stakeholders here. So, of course, the Buddha gave advice to Sigalaka, possibly a man in his youth, a family or working man in today's context. And he gave a framework and blueprint on how to lead a successful and fulfilling householder life. Most of us are living this, what we call householder life. We have homes to take care. We have a family. We have work. We have business. Some of us may not, those of you who have gone past your working life, you may not have so much of work life, working kind of things happening, but you still have other things as well: family, relatives, friends and colleagues, teachers. Some of you also have teachers. Some of you also have students, and many others in your life. So we have all these things happening. So among the advice that the Buddha gave to this Sigala or Sigalaka, whichever, is first of all, he talks about avoiding corrupt and unwholesome actions, both bodily and verbal actions. That means keeping the 5 precepts. He talks about the 6 drains of wealth by habitually engaging in some of these things, like habitually drinking alcohol, habitually roaming the streets at night. Some people, in the daytime they're not productive. They're not productive at all. They sleep, they waste their time, but at night they come alive, they go partying. And then you have people who frequent festivals, parties, and many others. Gambling is definitely one of the drains of wealth, and bad friends, laziness, procrastinators, and all that. And the Buddha also, apart from giving advice on what you can do for yourself, the Buddha says one of the key things is about recognizing and avoiding fake friends, recognizing and associating with good friends. This is a very important ingredient for us to have happiness in life. And Buddha talks about revering the 6 quarters: relationships with family, with friends, employee, colleagues, teachers, holy people, monks, nuns, and so on. So in a very broad sense, what the Buddha talked about in the Sigalovada Sutta has these 3 elements of well-being. Number 1, avoiding corrupt and unwholesome actions is to be well adjusted. So you want to be well adjusted to life. The very first thing is ask yourself, have we kept to our, number 1, our precepts? Are our actions wholesome? Are our actions skillful? Do we speak in ways that that are right, that are wholesome, that are good, and things like that? When we ask ourselves this question, we can say, am I a well-adjusted person or not? Okay, that's one. Then we say, these are the 6 drains of wealth. If we avoid them and we go and do something more productive in life, we are well balanced. We are neither over engaging in some of these pleasures, or neither are we punishing ourselves with too many things. That's being well balanced. And all these things that are the bulk of the sutta. Buddha talks about recognizing and avoiding fake friends, associating with good friends. In fact, there's an entire portion of the sutta just dedicated to actually friends. What is our network? What kind of people do we hang out with? Okay, the people that we mix around, the people that we spend the most time with, that has a lot of bearing on whether we have well-being or not. And revering the 6 quarters means these are the relationship with others. So if we can do all these things according to the sutta, we are well connected. Okay, so I just want to give you the overview first. Why this topic came about? It's because it's a very simple question. What do we want in life? If we want happiness and well-being, then we need to ask ourselves, am I well adjusted? Are my precepts kept? Are my actions in accordance with the Dhamma? Is the way I speak, is it kind? Is it gentle? Does it help? Or, then you need to ask yourself this next question: am I well balanced as a person? Do I, habitually engage in, do I have bad habits? In other words, I mean, many months ago, I spoke about habits. And I think habits are very, very key to, one of the basic things that we need to have. And the next one, I think, is also very important. It's about being well connected. And many a times we think we are well connected, but sometimes if you examine deeply, are we really well connected? People who have a lot of friends, are they well connected? People who have a lot of relatives I have one uncle who is a dato. I have one auntie who's a who is a dato Sri, and I have somebody who I know a lot of people. Are they well connected? It's a very interesting question. Knowing a lot of people does not mean you're well connected. Okay. Sometimes we say, what is networking? Networking means I cast the net and hope for a fish. Unfortunately, the net got whole. So when you cast the net wide, you hope and pray you catch something. Sometimes the net is not working. Okay, the net that doesn't work. So doesn't mean you know a lot of people, or I know a lot of people, doesn't mean I'm well connected. Well connected simply means this very important thing: I am able to manage my key stakeholder very well. I know who are the people important in my life. I know why are they important to me, and I want to build that kind of connection so that they will help me in my life to achieve my well-being. Okay, that's called key stakeholder. Yeah. Later I will do an exercise on key stakeholder analysis, and maybe we can see how that works. So the Sigalovada Sutta systematically lays out the various dangers of unskillful lifestyle and gives us advice on how we can lead a more skillful lifestyle. Yeah, so it's about avoiding unskillful, leading a more skillful. I think it's the same thing. How can we avoid the bad habits, and how can we cultivate good habits in life in general? And avoiding harmful actions, avoiding bad networks, so-called. It's a very simple but yet profound. Because if you want to lead a good and meaningful life, you can't be trying to live a good life if your environment around is no good. Okay, and then an analogy I like to give you is those of you who have aquarium and you have fishes in your aquarium, those of you who keep fish, or you have seen people keeping fish before. When the fish falls ill, sometimes you see some fishes, they're not so well and all that, and you got to give them medicine. So what do? You try to give the fish medicine, right? But from people who are experts in keeping fishes in the aquarium, they say you don't treat the fish. You can't treat you can't give the fish medicine. The fish won't get well one. The only way for the fish to get well is you need to take the fish out of the water and put it into another environment where the water is maybe fresher, cleaner, and all. You need to change your water. You need to clean your aquarium. You need to change the environment so that the water itself, put the fish back in, they have a chance to get better. Now, this is a very simple analogy to say, if we want well-being, you can't just be treating this one person. You need to look at the environment around you. Is my environment conducive for my well-being, for my happiness? If the environment is not conducive, no matter how much you do in your own way, in your own life, it's very hard. Our house is not in order, in other words. So the Buddha is very clear to say, if you want, see some people also, I say sometimes some people, they want well-being, they want happiness. But then again, what they do is they go for, they think that going for, let's say, a meditation course or a Dhamma talk or a Dhamma course will help them. Of course, it does help. Those things will help them to maybe manage themselves better. That's a very important thing. But that's not enough. The Buddha's advice is always about, if you want to do that, you also need to get the other aspect right, that is getting life right. So it's about, you see, the whole idea behind Buddhist practice is about getting life right first. Then when you try to meditate, the meditation will happen. But if you say I want to meditate so that I can have a better life, there's a disconnect there. It's not that way. It doesn't work that way. You need to get all aspects of your life right. All right, and meditation will be there. Okay, so when you say I want to lead a good and meaningful life, it's not enough just to say, oh, I study a lot of Dhamma, I go for Dhamma talk, I just listen to the Dhamma talk, and and then I go and study something, and then I try to do. But sometimes, why is still like that? After one whole year after 1 whole year of listening to Dd Nee Wern talking, my life's still the same. They say that, yeah, lousy Dhamma talk, or all the Dhamma speakers. No, it's not like that. It's not the way to handle it alone. When you want to say, why is my life not in order, take a look at the environment around you. What are the people I have? Am I creating the kind of environment that is conducive for my well-being, for my happiness, for whatever I want to do, for my success? So environment matters. Okay, just like the fish in the aquarium, the environment is the one you treat. You don't treat the fish, you treat the environment. And that environment is what? The kind of people we have in our life. And that means they are key stakeholders of our life. Right? So this is why this is a very important thing to think about. This paradigm must be right. You want to get your life right, you want to get things in order, you want well-being. Apart from working on yourself, yes, very important, you need to also check, is my environment around me conducive? Is it working? Okay, and that's why managing stakeholders become very, very key and very important. So what is a life stakeholder? This is a definition that I put together. And a life stakeholder is any person or persons that has an interest in your life and, note this, can either affect or be affected by your actions and your decisions. In other words, anything they do will have an impact on your life. And anything you do will have an impact on their life. As long as they will have an impact on your life directly, they are my key stakeholder. So actually managing key stakeholder is very, very important. Unfortunately, sometimes even I see as I consult with people in corporate life, they work very hard. Many people work very hard, but they don't manage their stakeholders well. I've known some people who are very pitiful in the workplace because they work very hard. They do many things. They are very helpful, but their career somehow reaches a certain level and they can't push beyond it. And as we examine further, the only reason is because they have issues managing key stakeholders. They are not able to manage the top, manage the bottom, or manage the side. Or maybe they manage the top well, side no good, bottom no good. Or maybe they are good in managing down, but the side and top. So they have issues in terms of stakeholder management. Therefore, all these people will somehow, create the environment that will not be conducive to my success. Same thing, some people in life is the same. I've noticed some people who are fathers, they play the role of a husband, a father. And to be fair to them, they work very hard. In fact, they have the interest of the family always in their mind. They work very hard for the family. They want the best for the family. The only unfortunate thing is this. They work so hard, they forget that actually all this while they work do the things, they have neglected one aspect, which is to manage the key stakeholder. Sometimes we work so hard and do so many things. We think we are doing the best for our children. Yeah, just like for example, myself, I work and then I travel. In my mind, I think actually I'm doing this. Why? Because I want the best for my wife, the best for my children, and not only working hard, I also engage in Dhamma activities, for example. Or I do so many things, and all this I do because I want the best for them. But then maybe I may, or you may have neglected to spend additional time to understand your wife or your husband or your children. And you'll be surprised, one fine day your children come to you. In your mind, I'm doing this for their benefit. In my mind. One fine day your kids will come back to you and say, Dad, actually you don't love me, They say, why? Why you say I don't love you? I do so many things for you. I've given you everything. and sometimes they will tell you, actually, yeah, I know, but then again, I don't that's not what I want. I know what I want already, but you're not giving me what I want. And sometimes they just want a simple thing. Maybe spend a little bit more attention. Maybe they just want somebody to listen to them. Your kids come and tell you my school thing is all that kind of thing. And as a parent, we are very quick to go there and says, give their advice lah. You do this, you do that. You don't do this, you do that, and things like that. But actually, they just want you to know their life in school. So sometimes our actions, our decisions that we make will have an impact on others, and they will in turn make decisions that will have an impact on us. Therefore, they are my life stakeholder. So if I don't spend time managing this life stakeholder, then this aspect of my environment will lead me to say, actually, my life is not very connected. Neither is it balanced. Neither is it adjusted. Why? Because my stakeholders are not well managed. So managing. So sometimes when we look at our life and says, why am I not getting anywhere? One of the key reasons is you need to take a look at, do I have the necessary conditions around me? It's not about karma alone. Neither is it about me alone. I do so many things. How can it be? I do so much good. How come still like that? And then we complain what to do, my karma law. But that's not the point, isn't it? The point is my environment around me making me a better person? Does it help me? Does it create the kind of well-being for me? So what is the Buddha's advice on this? I'm sure we know. I won't go very detailed, but I just want to give you the flavor. The Buddha said that, remember the story for Sigalaka is he prayed to the 6 directions: north, east, south, west, top, and zenith, top, and then bottom, nadir. So these are the 6 quarters. And his belief is if I pray and worship the 6 quarters, I am well covered. And by being well covered means I'm well protected. Yeah. And the Buddha says, that's not the way. You bow, no use one. Bowing alone is just a symbolic thing you do. But the meaning behind the 6 quarters are this: the parents to the east, teachers to the south, partner and children to the west, friends and colleagues to the north, servants and workers as beneath, ascetics and Brahmins as above. These are the Buddha's advice. And actually, the direction here don't matter. It's a matter of who are these people. They are, in general, our key stakeholders, our life's stakeholders. And many a times, if we look at all these, they are very important because our life comprises them. I mean, not everybody. Some of us, our parents are no more around. Then we don't have to, that doesn't feature so much in our lives. Some of you may not have children, so you may not have that as. Some may not be married, so you don't have your what do you call your wife, your husband, and things like that. But then this is just a guide to say these are in general our key stakeholders. We may have our own key stakeholders that fall into any one of these categories. Okay, so I want to very quickly go through what the Buddha has to say about managing them, in terms of how we deal with all these kind of people in the various quarters. Right, the Buddha gave very comprehensive advice, but I want to go through it very quickly because I want us to do a very quick reflection based on this advice. Next. So, between parents and children, parents, are they my key stakeholder? If you have your parents around, are they key stakeholder to you? Maybe they are, and they should be, because they are still around. There is an impact to my life. Whatever I do to them, whatever relationship I have with them is very key. And me to my children is also, if I have kids, they are very key stakeholder to me. So, according to the Buddha, for children to parents, it's about if I'm a child to my parent, I would say I will support those who supported me. So my parents have supported me. They brought me up. I will in turn support them in whatever way, in whatever capacity I can. Most of the time it's materially. If you are working people, you normally need to support them. When they are not well, the time I also need to support them. Things like that. I'll do my duty for them. So there are certain duties that are very much, it comes with the the relationship, right? For example, if I'm the eldest, there are certain obligations I know I have to do. Because these days, the parents tend to be a bit more loose when it comes to certain things. They say it's okay, if you can't, it's all right. I can still handle. They're just being kind. I'll maintain the family traditions, and I think this is a very important part of being a child to our parents. Is that some family traditions are very useful, very helpful, and we should continue to maintain traditions that are very good. For example, if you have a tradition of having your family come together on a very regular basis to have dinner, that may be a tradition. If you do a Chinese New Year, thing, then you may want to continue doing your Chinese New Year traditions and whatever not. Yeah, I'll take care of the inheritance. I'm sure parents will always have some kind of inheritance to us in whatever form. And when they have passed away, I'll make offerings on their behalf. I think this is something we are quite familiar with because in our culture we do. I mean, Qingming is coming. We do have this, this practice of honoring our ancestors. But actually, these are more for your direct parents. If those of you who still have them around, you do the above four, or maybe the three. But those of you who have parents who have passed away, maybe the last two will be much more. And what you do is you make offerings on their behalf. Whether you do a dana, you dedicate to them, you make a dedication, in whatever you do. Okay, so from parents to children, they keep them from doing bad. They support them in doing good. So if you have your children, you keep them away from bad habits. You support them when they do good things. You train them in a profession. In other words, you give them a good education and make sure they have. You see, our obligation as parents nowadays, of course, it never ends because even after the kids come out to work, we still have to pay for their down payment for their for their car, for their house. And these days, parents tend to be more, take care of the kids even beyond their school life. Okay, train them in a profession means make sure that they come out and they can actually have a good way to support themselves. I think that's a very important obligation for us. Make sure that they are well trained in certain skills. If they don't have skills in life, it's very hard for them to at least survive, in work. Connect them to a suitable partner. If you are, now, of course, now depending on what kind of parents we have. These days, in a modern way, we tend to be more loose with this. But then again, that's what's also part of what we can do to manage that stakeholder and transfer inheritance in due time. So anyway, this is just an overview. I won't go very detailed because you can snap your picture here and just, So next is the teacher-student relationship, or sometimes we have mentor and mentee. So some of us may be working people. You may not have your formal school teacher anymore, but you have mentors. Yeah, you may have mentors. So what is a mentor-mentee? So from the mentee to the mentor, in this case, this is during the Buddha's time, rising for them, serving them. What it means is in those days, student and teacher relationship is a lot more master-disciple, apprentice. They actually live with the teachers. They actually live with the sifu. And when you have this relationship, normally you do a lot of things for your teachers. You serve them, you make sure their well-being is taken care of. Even today, there's still practice in some places. But in this case, what it means is that you look at it as a mentee to the mentor. You need to look to your mentor and say, what can I do for you? What else can I do to help you out if there's a necessary thing? That's one of the ways. Listening well is a very important one. Whatever the mentor tells us, we listen to them. Looking after them means sometimes they may have some needs and concerns. We may have to handle for them. But more importantly is by carefully learning their profession. Whatever they mentor us on, I think we should learn from them as much as we can. So it's about treating your mentor not only with respect, but to learn a lot more from them. From teachers to student or mentor, if you mentor someone, you make sure that they are well trained, well educated. In other words, you help them to come up to speed on certain things. Clearly explain all the knowledge of the profession if you have a professional relationship with them. You also, in fact, mentors are very helpful here. You introduce your mentee to the friends and colleagues. You open doors and opportunities for them to network. Okay, so this is something that you can do for the mentee, and you provide protection for the mentee. Sometimes your mentee may need help. You may want to come in and say, okay, what can I do as your teacher? What can I do as your mentor? So anyway, this is a very important relationship. So if you have mentors, is that your key stakeholder? Perhaps. If you have a mentee under you, is that your key stakeholder? Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I think we need to take note that the Buddha is very clear and very wise when it comes to these things. He knows that these relationships are important in our life for our benefit, for our well-being, for us to have a happy life. Yeah. Next. So, now husband and wife. Is your husband a key stakeholder to you? Is your wife a key stakeholder to you? If it is, this is a very important one to pay attention to. So, from the husband to the wife, it's about treating her with honor. I think even giving some respect to your spouse, in this case your wife, is about giving her the kind of due respect. She should not be somebody subordinated. A wife is usually an equal. And the Buddha did mention that, in fact, in not so many words, the Buddha has said the husband and wife relationship is an equal one. By not looking down on her, by not being unfaithful, by relinquishing authority to her. This is a very important one. A friend of mine once told me, happy wife, happy life. So in other words, certain authorities, especially concerning the household, should be rested with the wife, because most cases the wife knows better, especially with regard to household matters. I know my own wife; she handles the household, not so much of the housework only, but per se, but it's also in terms of how the house is to be managed. Okay, how the home is to be managed. What are the ground rules of the house? What are the SOP of the house? Your job as a husband, SOP is to be given to the wife, and the wife is the custodian. Follow all the SOP. Don't question. Okay, and from time to time, present her with gifts. My wife was telling me last time, don't waste money on flowers, lah. Then that year I actually didn't give her any flowers, and I got into trouble. She said, "Why you never give me flowers?" I said, "You don't want, ma." You say what? Who say so? So anyway, this is just my little, So what about the wife to the husband? Same thing. You're well organized. You manage the domestic house. So some of the people who have servants in the house, or maids, leave it to the wife to manage. They should be the one who knows the house better. Not unfaithful, preserve his earning. Those days, of course, husband earns, and then the finances are managed by the woman of the house. In fact, that's what the society those days are. Whatever the husband makes, the wife has to manage. She manages. She's like the banker and the finance department. Of course, these days you have both persons working. It's a very different kind of environment. What it means here is that actually you have roles to play. And I think we need to be very clear what are the roles. We need to very well define. So when we say my spouse is my key stakeholder, what are the things to manage as as a key stakeholder to me is I need to know what are the things I need to make sure so that this relationship is well managed. From time to time, we may have to agree on what are the principles in the house. Which one you do, which one I do, where do we cross, where we don't cross. I think that agreement must be there for any husband and wife to function more effectively in the house. Remember, the house is like your company. Sometimes You manage it well, it will lead to profits. Okay, you don't manage it well, it will lead to to loss. And loss here can in the house can mean loss of time, loss of energy, loss of health, and many other things. So you want a good well-being. Manage that stakeholder in your life very, very well. Yeah. Okay. So friends and colleagues, they are another key stakeholder. When you have friends and colleagues, it's about the way you treat your friends is to be kind to them. You give them, you are generous to them. You treat them with kindly words. You take care. You have equality. You don't use tricky words. In other words, treat your friends, treat your colleagues with kindness. Doesn't mean you're just nice to them for the sake of being nice, but treat them with kindness means, and it's very useful kind of things at work, especially when you have colleagues. You need to take care that you don't offend people along the way. I've seen some people in their workplace, they somehow have a habit of offending people. Why? Because they have a certain way of doing their work. And then you find that along the way, actually they didn't do anything wrong. They're doing their best. But along the way, because they are too quick to do something, too quick to jump into something, they may have stepped on somebody's landmines, and then it creates a lot of issues. So reciprocating, if you have good friends, one of the key things you need to do is to guard them when they're negligent. In other words, sometimes they may be a little bit, not careful with certain things. You take care. You help them out. You guard their property when they're negligent. You keep them in safe in times of danger. Don't abandon them, and honor their descendants. In fact, this is very, very. These are the qualities of good friends. Okay, so. And between a master servant or a boss and subordinate relationship, it's the same. From a boss to a subordinate, the Buddha advised you need to organize work according to their ability by paying food and wages. Make sure you pay them. Don't ask them to work, you don't pay them. Nursing them when they're sick. In other words, give them time off to if they are really sick, sometimes just give them the time for them to recover. I've seen some bosses who really, when you're sick also, they don't let you go. They think that you're trying to, to be funny. Sharing special treats, give bonus. Yeah. Bonuses when you have more than enough, and giving time off where necessary. In fact, it's important to give time off to people. I've seen some companies, what they do is that they don't have a HR policy. So we go in and ask and help them to set up the HR policy. And then they view that, what if they don't take leave? I can reward them for not taking leave. Okay. Actually, the labor law is very clear on this. Leave is not meant to be exchanged for money. Leave, that's why leave is designed for people to rest. So when people say, I don't take leave, and then and then you give them some special incentive for not taking leave, that's not right. That's not right. The message you're telling them is, your leave is exchangeable for money. That's one. Secondly is, you don't have to rest throughout your entire working life, and then I reward you for not resting. But that's not the point. The point is, we are human beings. We need to rest. Rest is a very important part of being effective. And if you're the subordinate, of course, those days they say get up first means you get up before your boss. Show up to work early, in other words. Go to bed last means you don't leave, or you don't every day also leave before the boss leave, unless the boss is somebody very siao one, they always like to leave very late. That's very different. But in most cases, you should not be there to give the impression that you work less than the boss. So actually, these are the first few things you do. You don't steal from your boss. You do your work well, and you promote the good reputation of your boss, or you promote good reputation of your company. Actually, it's always good to speak well of your boss most of the time. If you have very difficult bosses, privately for selected individuals, you may want to complain to them more for venting, but be very selective. All right. I've seen some people, they are so unhappy with the boss, they go about and bitch about the boss. And that's very bad, because you never know what will come back. And this is a real story where one of the person last time who was very unhappy with with the boss and whatever work, and he went to social media. And when he went to social media, he vented in the thing, and then somehow or other, the of course on Facebook you get a lot of people, oh yeah lah, all the comment, all the likes and all that, yeah lah, this kind of boss no good one, don't work there anymore and things like that. It was on Facebook, and apparently because he's working with in a company, and it was picked up by a competitor. And it was flagged out. No, the client of the company flagged it out. And because it was flagged out, it went up to the company, and it eventually went up to the top. And the board of directors heard about it and says, oh my goodness, he created such a hoo-ha, and the company was implicated. To cut the story short, he was dismissed. So you, no matter how unhappy with you, with your boss you are, the good advice is never bitch about them. Never complain about them. If you want to complain in private. Tell your wife, tell your husband, or tell your close friends who can be of help to you. But don't go and bitch about them, Give them a good reputation. Even if they're a boss, they are just another human being. Okay, next. So I want to, this is this one. Lay people serving ascetics, Brahmins, monks, by you also treat them kindly. You don't turn them away at the gate. Means when they show up, or when they when they are around, we should be helpful to them, Most monks live very simple life. We just have to support them in whatever little that we can support, providing them material needs. And for the monks, they will help them in terms of morality, help them to teach them what they do not know, clarify what has been learned, and show the path to heaven. All these are the duties. So these are not new to some of you. I'm sure you have read the Sigalovada Sutta, some of you. But I want to capture here where, okay, this is where the exercise starts. This is more for you to do for your own self. Now, take a moment. I want every one of you who are watching to take a moment to identify the key stakeholders in your life. Have them in your mind. Who are they in your life? Very key one, which means I have direct contact with them, and they have direct contact, and they remember the definition. Whatever they do, whatever I do, we affect each other, and they affect us as well. Okay, so choose one key stakeholder among all the ones that you have identified. Choose one of them that you would like to enhance your relationship with him or with her. Okay, so you may have so many of them, and you may want to choose only one among all, because not everybody you have a lot of issues. Most of them you're quite all right, but you may notice maybe one you would like to enhance your relationship, either because I want to strengthen the relationship, or I want to build the bridge with that stakeholder, or whichever applies. So ask yourself these three questions. What do I expect from him or her? What does he or she expect from me? And what can I do to manage that expectation? Now, this is the practical side. We have learned the theory part from the sutta. Now, all of you here, I invite you to do this very simple exercise. So what you can do is, I have devised a template. Okay, and this template is just a simple, 4-column table. The key stakeholder, who is he, what I expect from him or her, what he or she expects from me, and what can I do to manage the expectation. Okay, simple. And I want you to just pick one. For example, you may pick, let's say my key stakeholder is my wife. And you say what I expect from him or her to support me in my career, assuming that's what you want. What does he or she expect from me? This is a part you have to think. What does he or she want from me most of the time? How you know this? You know this based on your interaction. You roughly can gauge actually what is their concern about this. Normally, either they complain the most, or they ask the most question, or you roughly have a good idea. So, based on your analysis, I think she expects that I understand her frustration about work and family. That means she may have issues with her boss. She may have issues. She wants me to understand her. So what can I do to manage the expectation? Now, this is the part you need to get creative. You need to get creative. What if I want this stakeholder to be supporting me? What must I do to make sure this stakeholder is well managed? So this is the part I says, listen with patience, don't judge, respond with sensitive words. This is the thing I must do. So I put it down there because that's a reminder for me to say, this is a key stakeholder to me. She needs to be supportive of me. She wants something from me. And if I can do this a little bit more, I think I'm managing this stakeholder in my life a lot better. So this is what we call by key stakeholders analysis. Yeah. I mean, sometimes we know these things, but if we don't sit down to think through and do it, you will notice that along the way you will not do it, man. Because many things come in between and it says, yeah, you know. So, but if you can pay attention and start to analyze them, all right, key stakeholder analysis is a very powerful tool to use for us to think through, reflect, and at the right time take action. Let me give you another example. My boss is my key stakeholder. So what do I want from him or her? Oh, I want him to recognize my contribution. I think so far I don't see that he's recognizing what I do. I work very hard, but he doesn't seem to see what I wrote. So, okay, then what does he or she expect from me? Now you must think, what does he want from me? I work so hard, but actually, what does he want from me? Oh, actually, a lot of time he wants me to keep him up to date about progress, even if he didn't ask for them. All right. So in other words, it's not just about working hard alone. I've known some people who work very hard, but they don't keep their boss up to date. A lot of time they get into trouble, not because they don't do their work, but because the boss doesn't know what they're doing. So what can I do to manage the expectation? Regularly update him proactively, and maybe consult him when often. He wants to be consulted. So some people, they work so hard, but they don't consult the boss, for example. They straight away jump in and do it. And then the boss, after that, is like, why you want to do that for? Then you say, oh, my boss very difficult. So again, managing key stakeholders is very, very key and very important. Yeah. Right. Next is my staff, for example. What do I want my staff to do? What do I expect from him or her? Align to my ideas, to my decisions. So what do I want from him or her? I want what he expect from me? What does he expect or she expect from me? Or she wants me to provide clarity so that she can function. A lot of time, maybe she doesn't see that I'm very clear with her. Many time I give instruction, she doesn't act on it. And then later I found out actually that she was a little bit confused. So maybe a lot of times she's confused about what I want. She say, yes, I understand, but I know she doesn't understand. So maybe I need to provide better clarity. So what can I do to manage the expectation? Communicate my expectations clearly through regular engagement and encourage two-way dialogue. Maybe I have been too busy giving instruction through email. I have not sit down with her and talk about it. Many a time I just WhatsApp and email and then things don't move. Yeah. So that's why a lot of times she's not aligned to me because she doesn't know what I want, for example. And same thing lah, if your key stakeholder is a sister, same thing you can read from here. Perhaps so I expect her to be there when the family is around, but she also wants me to visit her regularly. And maybe what I can do more is I can check in with her at every given opportunity to catch up regularly. So this is the part that I think we can help to take action, because we know from Sigala Wada Sutta, these are the few things that we need to do. We need to now take stock. Okay, if they are important to me, let's take one or two of them and put them into this simple analysis, and we need to ask ourselves what I want from her, what she wants from me, what can I do? That's very important. What can I do to manage the expectation? The answer may be somewhere there in the Sigala Wada Sutta. For example, when he says the boss one, I must be able to rise before him and all those things. But the meaning behind it is I must be able to be seen to be doing what I do. Update him, talk to him regularly, have dialogue and things like this, for example. So, in other words, to add value to oneself and others is about identifying and managing our key stakeholders in life, to find ways to add value to each other's life. And now, if you notice from Sigala Wada Sutta and from what I shared on managing stakeholders, the underlying virtue of all this is actually the virtue is compassion. If you want to have compassion, if you want if you want the stakeholder to be well managed, it's all about compassion. If you can do those things, it's about being compassionate to them. And by managing them well, we can achieve better connection, well-being for yourself and for others. Yeah, so that's the meaning of managing life's stakeholders. All right, that's all I want to share. Thank you very much.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya, and good morning,
Hi, Dd
Dhamma, and nice to see you again, Nee Wern.
Yes. We just saw each other last week at the other program.
Yeah, and sadhu to you for the very interesting, very inspiring, and very mentally stimulating and enriching talk this morning on managing life stakeholders, which is a good reminder to many of us, including myself, of course, even though at the age of 64, we have so much more things to learn in life, even from someone much older or much younger than me. I think today we have learned many things very useful on how to develop a very happy, harmonious relationship with other people who are important in our life. This is actually very important to us to have a good, happy, successful, and meaningful life. And I think you have used a very good example of the wife as one of the key stakeholders. What are the expectations and how to manage all those expectations to have a happy wife. Like what you say, happy wife, happy life.
That's not somebody told me that, so I would say, yeah, maybe that's true.
Yeah, I think also we also always hear that people saying that behind every successful man, there's a woman, and
My wife
behind
disagree.
every successful man who may fail eventually is also a woman.
but I think the most important is the relationship that you have, you know. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the good talk. And unfortunately, you gave a very good talk, but we don't have so much time for Q&A. I think there are many questions.
We'll answer as much as we can. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you give some concise answer to some of those questions.
Sure.
We go for question number 1 from Brother Chan, KCPA, regarding the moderation and avoid two extremes. Sometimes we need to drink alcohol occasionally in social, for work and families. So is it okay if we drink in moderation? Is it breaking a precept?
Well, the Buddha has never said it is wrong or to do anything. The Buddha only mentions if you want a better well-being and better life, this is what you should avoid. Right? So I suppose it's a matter of understanding. If you understand that alcohol does harm, and in the long run, actually, it does harm not only the body but the mind, because it causes the reason why alcohol is not recommended is because it leads to mindlessness. We become more negligent in the way we do things and all that. So in a social setting, sometimes we can't escape. But then again, I won't go into detail here. But then again, I have my own experience. Actually, it's not. You see, those days when I was in corporate, many a time I do have to attend some of these functions, and we do go to them. And the reason they give is because you need to network lah. Okay, fine, go and network lah. The only problem is this: after all the drinking and all the partying, which is quite a lot, and then you look at it, actually, who are the people that I network with? The kind of people I meet there, 90%, 95%, or 99% of them don't remember me, and neither do I remember them. So sometimes I wonder whether it's really necessary for me to be there, because my network is the people that I spend a lot more time with. So anyway, it's a social thing. So is it necessary? I don't know. It's a matter of choice. So yeah, it's a choice to make. It is technically not right by the precepts, but then again, it's a matter of choice. It's also a matter of gradual training. Perhaps if you have been doing that, try to reduce. Try to reduce, maybe not all at once, avoid entirely, but try to reduce. Maybe from along the way, do less and less of it until a point you don't have to do that anymore. So, yeah, that's the thing that you can offer. So, yeah, drinking in moderation, I don't know. Can drinking be in moderation? My experience, can't lah. It's always one, and then after this, another one. Okay, another one. One more lah. So where got moderation? Okay.
Okay, good advice. We go for the next question. Do you need to be guided by a religion to develop the ABC of well-being?
Well, having a religion helps. I think when you have a religious belief, it would definitely be a good guide. Somebody with some spiritual backing. I've known some people in life where when they have some kind of religion, doesn't matter what religion, somehow or rather, when they go through very difficult time, they have some idea what to do, whether they are Buddhist, they're Christian, they're Muslim. But those people who don't have some kind of religious backing, they say, oh, I don't believe in anything. Yeah, it's fine. Actually, nothing wrong with it. It's just that when it comes to hard time, my personal observation is they may not have some tools to help them. For example, as Buddhists, we have the suttas to guide us. When as Christian, maybe they say, I've got to guide me, whatever it is. Muslims the same. But people who don't have, they don't have anything else to fall back to. They only have themselves and may not be sufficient. So it will help. But is it necessary? Not necessary. Not necessarily a religion per se, but some kind of spiritual, practice. But don't do it alone. Get involved in a community. That will help a lot more. Yeah. All right.
Yep. Good explanation. We go for the next one, the third question. How can we strike a balance if the causes and conditions are not met and unfavorable in our environment and actions?
Yeah, I mean, some environment and some situation may not be very good. For example, we may be in a situation where the families are very dysfunctional, or maybe we have a very difficult upbringing. Our parents are not very supportive. Sometimes it could be the family. We have a lot of complicated family politics there, relatives, and all those kind of things. So it can be quite a challenge having to deal with family members like that. If it's a family matter, my answer to that is be patient. I think it's about being patient to ride through some of these challenges. I had a very difficult relationship with my own, siblings, my own brother, and these days I try to mend those things by creating the conditions. So I do it step by step. It's not easy because over the years we have not been talking, but then nothing stopped me from initiating something. And I think it is a step-by-step thing, and don't be impatient and don't think that you want to solve all the problem at once. It's okay to sometimes allow some of these things to take place. Do one thing that you think will be helpful. So what you can do is, among all the stakeholders that has caused all these difficulties, pick one or two that you would like to maybe say, I think this is an easier win. Yeah. So I says, I think I'm closer to this brother, okay, or my sister. So maybe start with her. And I work my way with her, and I build that kind of thing with her. I manage that stakeholder and see what I can do with it. And then once that is all right, I move to the next one. So try not to solve all the problems at once. Be a bit more patient and do it one person at a time. That usually works better than trying to take care of the entire thing. Yeah. So that's how we create the environment. We can't save everybody. Right? We can't do everything at once.
Thank you. I think good advice for a very good question. We go for the next one. I think again from Brother Chan, KCEA. Do you think we Buddhists who practice radiating a lot of metta to all beings, even to the enemies, rivalries, competitors in business, work, and social life, can help to balance up? Or will that make us easily being bullied?
I think having metta would definitely help. I can testify this because I do that a lot, especially when I go and see my client. I know this client is a little bit more difficult to manage. I will just radiate my metta to them. And of course, you must do it properly. So Metta verses are, may you be well and happy. May you be free from danger. All right? Okay, may you be well and happy. May you be free. Now, I want to offer something here. Metta never say, may I be nice to you. Metta never say, you can do anything to me. Okay? So it doesn't mean when you have metta, it means I'm being soft, I'm being over nice to the point I'm being taken advantage of. That's not the meaning of metta. Metta never say, may I be nice to you. May I be, kind. I mean, kind in the sense of, I'm kind but may I be nice to you. May you, you can do anything to me, but I'll be all right. Metta never say that. The real meaning of metta is, may you be well and happy. So you can still be assertive, and you can still state your things. You can still be clear with people, but you don't have to make enemies and be very aggressive with them. But at the same time, you don't have to be so nice that people take advantage. So no, it will not make you easily bullied unless you do it wrongly by saying the wrong verses of metta. May I be nice to you. You can do anything to me. That's not metta. Okay, metta is just, may you be well and happy. I have my thing I want to do for you. May you be all right. I have nothing personal against you, but I think you deserve the happiness. I want you to be happy. That's it. It doesn't mean I'm nice to you all the time. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, and don't be nasty. Doesn't mean now metta means nasty. It just we need a shift of paradigm on this.
I guess WH Chan will be very happy with this answer. Good answer. Okay, we go for the next one.
Sure.
From Brother Leong Yu Ming. How do we strike the balance between the stakeholders within one's family and the demands of the modern materialistic and sophisticated society? How to balance our life between our family?
I don't really know how is the question here. What do you mean by strike a balance between your stakeholder and the demands of modern materialist society? I suppose maybe if I get the question right, is saying, are you saying that if I were to manage my key stakeholders, but there's a lot of demands from outside on me, and for example, if I were to give an example, I have my job, I have my my business to handle, and sometimes my business takes away a lot of my time, my energy, my focus. I do have my family there that also demand a lot from me. For example, some people in their workplace, they travel a lot. They also take a lot of time away, and they may not be able to balance it with the family members. I think it's very difficult for us to strike a balance when you talk about time you spend. It's not about balance. So the work-life balance, actually, if you examine it closely, is a myth. You can't have work-life balance one. There's no such thing. But there is such a thing called work-life balancing. Yeah. You walk on a tightrope. It's about, there are times you're swayed to one side more. You have to take it back here. The times you're more here. If you have more work to do, you have to spend more time at work. You have to spend more time there. If you have lesser time, where do you put your time? But you never lose sight of what's important. Are they your key stakeholders? My family member is still key stakeholder. I don't spend that much of time with them, but whatever little time I have with them, what do I do with them? Do I continue to give them instructions? That's why some people, they get it wrong. In their workplace, they treat everybody very nice. And then they come back, they treat everybody very nasty. So in the workplace, they bow to the CEO, and they come home, they become the CEO. That's not balance. So work-life balancing. Yeah.
Okay, I think due to time constraint, we just have one more question. Last question. Sure. From Brother Chan. Sometimes other life stakeholders over-expect you to achieve certain things. How to ensure they don't have any or have many demands from you?
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who may be more demanding on us. But we must know who they are. My answer to this is this. I think we need to be very clear why are they an important key stakeholder to me? let's say the key stakeholder could be my boss, for example, lah. And if it is my boss, I have to then the next question to ask, do I have to manage my boss? And the question is yes. At this point in time, I'm still working there. I need to manage my boss. Then I need to ask myself this next question: what do I want from my boss? Okay, I want something from him. I want him to maybe leave me alone. Okay, let me do my thing or whatever it is. But the next question to ask is very important. You can't ensure they will not have demands on you. I think every key stakeholder in my life will always have demands on us in one way or another. It's a matter of intensity. So when you look at intensity of that key stakeholder, normally the more intense the relationship, the more intense the kind of demands, it means that that key stakeholder is somebody I need to spend more pay more attention to. So you can't stop the kind of demands, but I think you can manage expectations and manage concerns. Many a time, demands on us come from concerns they have. I repeat, many demands that people demand from us come from the concerns they have. Let's say it's your boss or it's your wife. She has let's say a spouse, a wife has a lot of demand on you. She want this from you. She every time tell you. In fact, sometimes she micromanage you. She she every single thing you do is not right. She keep on telling you, and the easiest thing for us is to retaliate. But if you examine deeper, why does she keep on doing those things? And that could be maybe one of the concerns she may have. She's very concerned about making sure things in the house don't fail. She just only clean up the whole house, do a spring cleaning. Everything is done very nicely. And now you are there and you made a small mess in the kitchen, for example. And she's very concerned that mess has taken away all the hard work that she has done. So maybe that could be her concern. When you know her concern, you now then are able to say, can I address that concern? Is it very difficult for me to keep a neat and tidy place, for example? So it's about the demands people have on us come from the concerns they have. And the deeper the concern, the more demanding they have on you. So when we do a key stakeholder analysis, it's about understanding their concerns. And when we understand concerns, we manage those concerns. I think that's a very key element in any kind of key stakeholder engagement, relationship building. Relationship is all about concerns. Human needs are concerns. So the Buddha was very clear about this. It's all about the concerns of the respective key stakeholders. So the answers are not out there. The Buddha has given us. So I hope you all have a good, time. Enjoy managing key stakeholders in your life. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very well said, very well explained, very good answer to a very good question. Dd Nee Wern, thank you so much for the very interesting, very inspiring, and mentally stimulating talk this morning, and also the very good answers, enlightening answers to many good questions this morning. I think we have many good take-home value this morning on how to have a happy, harmonious, and meaningful life by being able to manage our key stakeholders well. Thank you so much, the new ones. And on behalf of our members and devotees, once again, thank you and for the very good talk this morning. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Dd Nee Wern, who had spent a lot of his time preparing and delivering this morning's Dhamma sharing. And gratitude to all of you out there who have listened, learned, and cultivate what you have learned. Gratitude to our Dhamma friends from Klang and Coast, from the north, from the south, and we also have friends from overseas, Sri Lanka, who have been listening and participating in this morning online session. Gratitude to our Dhamma friends who have been participating every week on our Sunday Buddha Puja service. listening to the Dhamma talk, and to the sharing of merits. Gratitude to the societies in encouraging the devotees in spending their time every Sunday morning. With the merits accrued, let us dedicate the merits to all our departed relatives, families, and friends, and all beings. May they rejoice in the merits that we have gained. We should dedicate merits to Sister Ansu. May she have a speedy recovery. May she be free from harm and danger. Punanumodana, sharing of merits. Imang no punya bagang mata bitunanja acharya nanja sabasata nanja sabamita nanja sabanyati nanja sabanyati nanja sabaveda nanja sabadevata nanja Bhajemam Imang no punya bagang Sabba satanang dema Sabbe sata sukita hontu Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana patiya idang me punyang asavaka yavahang hotu idang me punyang Nibbanasa patayo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Before we end, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang pujemi. Dhammang pujemi Sanghang pujemi. Thank you, Sadhu, to all of you again for participating in the Buddha Puja till the end of the session with the dedications of merit. You may continue to express your thanks to the speaker, Dd Khoo Nee Wern. We have come to the end of this 83rd online Sunday Buddha Puja service. Please visit again next Sunday morning, same time, 9:30, 20th of March. May you and family be safe, well, happy, and peaceful always. I thank all of you who have joined us every week. Thank you, thank you. Suki Hontu. Goodbye, Sabbe, Sata, Sukita Hontu.
Bahong sahan semabhinim mita sayudantang ngirimi kelang udita Sasene marang dana dina jitwa munindo